I know what it is to be a buyer and be completely nervous about everything that could go wrong in your mind. And I have purchased four personal homes, three investment properties in my lifetime. And every single time I have those what if scenarios running through my mind. So today we're going to review some of those for you and how those outcomes may be here in North Carolina. Let's start with the obvious, the inspection report. What if it comes back absolutely horrible with terrible things all over it? So don't forget that before you are able to do that inspection, you have given a non-refundable due diligence deposit to the sellers in their name, and they have deposited it into their account. Yes, I said non-refundable. If you don't believe me, go back and watch some of my other videos. Then you have the permission to go ahead and do that inspection. And in North Carolina, the sellers are not obligated to repair anything that comes up on that inspection report. You heard me correct. Absolutely nothing. So now that what if scenario is going crazier in your mind. Well, before you even go under contract, we are going to walk the house extremely thoroughly together so that we try to uncover some of those bigger ticket items that are visible to our eyes. Of course, we can't see behind the walls. We don't know if there's a leak going on there. We don't always know what's happening with the electrical. But to those things that we can see, walking around the foundation, going in the crawl when we can go in the crawl space, going up into the attic, looking for obvious signs of structural damage, water damage, or other things, we're going to try and protect you as much as possible, because if you're going to go under contract on this and give a non-refundable deposit, we want to know as much upfront before you even do that. Age of the HVAC, age of the water heater. What are those bigger ticket items that you may have to pay after you close or repair yourself if the seller does not agree to repair or give a credit? So that what if scenario, hopefully we have, before you've even gone under contract, gone ahead and uncovered as much as possible so that you go into it prepared to hear it's going to need a new roof, it's going to need a new HVAC, it's going to need a new water heater, whatever the case may be. Of course, inspectors always are able to find other things that we aren't seeing, minor leaks here and there, electrical things that we just aren't aware of in the electrical box, and so forth. There will be things that come up on every inspection report, but hopefully that what if panic is a little less, excuse me, because of all of the investigations that we have done together before you've given that non-refundable deposit. Then when that inspection report comes back, your job as a buyer is to be, I'm sorry to say this, but as reasonable as possible when presenting the sellers with the request to repair. Now, what do I mean by that? Are we going to ask for every little caulking in the bathroom to be done when there are bigger ticket items on that report? Leave the caulking off. Ask for as much as possible, but understand that, again, sellers are not obligated to do anything. So go for the bigger ticket items. Ask for a credit sometimes in lieu of the repairs, because you might be under a time crunch to close and it's not as feasible for that seller to do the repair. And I got to be honest, wouldn't you want to hire the people to do the repair that you know, like, and trust, rather than maybe their cousin doing the repair who's a licensed electrician or whatever the case may be? Let's protect you. Get that inspection report in. Let's review it and ask for the bigger ticket items, and also calm that what if panic before you even go under contract. Now, the next what if this house doesn't appraise? Maybe you were in one of those competitive situations in which you actually went over the list price in order to win the house. It's happening, people. It is March 2026 when I'm recording this, and I have had this happen before COVID, during COVID, after COVID, and still today, when there is a really competitive situation that many of the buyers are going over the list price. So if you're one of those people and you are nervous about the appraisal, let's talk about a few things. Number one, if I'm your agent, I am presenting you with a ton of scenarios actually, in which I'm showing you where that potential appraisal could come in at. So before you've even gone under contract, once again, I have educated you about where it could fall, give or take $10,000 or so. Now, luckily, my calculations are often pretty close, but what you need to understand is that the seller does not have to lower the purchase price to match the appraisal value, and the lender will not lend above that appraisal value. So now you have a gap where the appraisal came in at and what you've agreed to purchase the house at. That gap is something that you have to be prepared for with liquid funds. You will have to make up the difference between the appraisal value and the purchase price. And again, if I am your agent, I am trying my best to prepare you for the scenario in which this is what the appraisal may come in at. We could get really lucky and it come in higher, and this is what you're purchasing at. My buyers go into this knowing this information. I know they're still nervous without what if, and they are often relieved when it comes in by what I kind of estimated it to come in by. Am I perfect? No, but I'm pretty darn close every single time. Now, the next thing to know about the appraisal, also in other states, I have so many people asking me if they're moving here from another state, hey, is my property tax going to be based on my purchase price? And the answer is no. Your property tax is based on the appraisals that were done by the city and the county whenever they last appraised the home. So you're okay. Your property taxes aren't changing based on your purchase price, which is why many times buyers coming from other states say to me, oh, well, I see that the appraisal tax value is X and they've listed it at Y. Why did they do that here in North Carolina? It doesn't always match. I need you to understand that our tax value does not always match our sales value. Okay, so that's that what if. What if that appraisal doesn't come in? You need to be prepared. I have educated you about the appraisal gap, bringing the cash to the table. Of course, it's going to be wired funds in order to make up that gap. That keeps people up at night because they may only be working with a certain amount of money. When this happens, maybe you're putting less down on the loan and reallocating that cash to make up the appraisal gap. So if you're working with a healthy chunk of change, then you will be able to shift money around. Your next step is to speak with your lender in order to understand how that shifting of funds will affect your monthly payments, because it will. That's the what if you need to be thinking about. If I shift it, what does it do to my monthly payments? Now, the last thing that I hear everybody what if about, what if I can't close on time? Well, in North Carolina, you only have a 7-day wiggle room, including weekends and holidays, built into your closing. Okay. So if your lender, for whatever reason, is a little bit behind, which I don't often find if you're using a good local lender, then you have that built into your closing. Other states, in my opinion, are completely loco. They do not have a fixed closing date. And I think that's insane. It can shift based on whatever the case is, the scenario. Honestly, I feel like whatever the mood is in other states, that you can shift your closing date. That's not the case here in North Carolina. If you say you're closing April 1st, you're closing April 1st, or you can close 7 days later, including weekends and holidays. We're not shifting it. So if you're used to other states having that little bit of wiggle room, way too much wiggle room, in my opinion, then just understand 7 days built in. Do not panic. All right, so there are three what if scenarios, and I know my buyers are thinking, many of them when they're relocating here from other states, because they're just not used to the North Carolina real estate market, how our rules work, and what can play out. So I hope that this video has helped you. I hoped it helped you calm those nerves a little bit because, once again, if I am your agent, I'm trying to protect you and educate you every step of the way so that we calm all the nerves. And please like and share this with somebody who has been interested in buying in North Carolina, who you think might be relocating here, so that they are more understanding of our real estate rules. And be sure to like and subscribe. And also watch this video next that tells you more about the due diligence fee and the earnest money. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.